Hi there everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I'm going to do the tutorial that I'm probably the most excited for in this Christmas season, my 3D Santa. This was the first time that I had really played around heavily with any kind of 3D work. Last year I did the Santa on my nails and he was so cute and I got so many compliments and it kind of made me a little bit more confident in my nail abilities. I think it was actually the first time I had ever posted a picture of my nails on social media was because of this little Santa guy. So I'm going to explain this to you and hopefully set you up for as much success as possible. So this is an acrylic nail. I protein bond before I apply my gel polish. You don't need a base coat. And I'm using this number 33 gel polish from Exclusive Nail Couture. It's this like silver glitter sparkle. It's really pretty. I like to have a silver, or I guess you can maybe do gold, but I like to have a silver base, a glitter base, because I think that the Santa kind of blends too much into a solid color. Like obviously if you would do white, like his beard would not pop as much, and if you did like green, I think it would just be like too much. So silver is kind of a nice neutral color. I don't do nude because I don't want his face to blend in. So even though there's kind of barriers, but you'll see that. So I'm just adding another coat of that gel polish. You can do this on top of encapsulated glitter as well. That's how I normally do it. It's very pretty. And then I'll just top coat it because I like to do my 3D over top coat. So I learned this technique from a Neo Nails video. It's an older video. I don't think Kirsty Megan was even on the Neo Nails channel at that point. Maybe it was the other girl who was on there like a long time ago. So just keep that in mind. I'll link that video down below if it's still up. So I'm going to show you kind of how I go through this. So the first step that I do is I'm going to use concealer pink from Exclusive Nail Couture. I'm going to use Core XXX White. Please excuse my nails. They were for an election lesson that I did like a while ago. I'm going to use Bold Digger, which is a glittery red acrylic. But you could also use Slick Pour Pizza Joint, which I will use as well in a slightly different way. And then I'm going to use Young Nails Overdrive. This is their Mission Control Gel Paints, and you'll also see why I use that. So I start off with my concealer pink, and I'm using a number 2 3D brush and my Young Nails monomer. I did drop a few I put like 3 drops of acetone in my monomer and stirred it up a little bit. This will help the acrylic set faster so that I'm not having to like worry about it so much. So with 3D art, you kind of want to go in with a drier bead initially. You don't want to have it running away from you. You want to make sure you have really good product control. So while the bead may initially look like it is too dry, as you can see I'm touching it, it's kind of polymerizing a little bit, and that's what you want. So I'm kind of making this like circular oval. I guess it's more of an oval. It's kind of a stretched out oval shape. And I'm just going to play with it until I like the shape of it, because this is going to be Santa's face. I like using concealer pink because it's a really good flesh tone color. I didn't want anything that was too pinky, which a lot of my cover products are. I wanted something that had a little bit more peach or beige to it. And this seems to be the powder that works the best in my experience. So now I'm going to go in with Bold Digger. You're going to kind of see how I methodically bounce around to different parts of the little Santa. So as you can see, this is a really pretty, it's a red-based acrylic, so it's not like it's clear-based, and it has flecks of red glitter in it. And this is going to be for his hat. So I'm just going to get that bead there, roll it on, and then I'm just going to stretch it out. I'm going to maybe get a little bit more monomer in my brush, just so it can kind of be a little bit wet, because you don't want the bead to be so dry that like it looks really crackly, I guess, and like uneven. You want it to kind of self-level a little bit. So that's why I like to have it be like a medium consistency. Like I said, you don't want it running all over the place. So I'm trying to get that point of his hat that kind of like hot or flops over to one side. But I'm going to stretch this little bead out to all the way to one side, and then you can obviously pick the side you like better to have his hat like fold on. And if you have to add another bead of acrylic, that's okay. You know, you can do this in as many beads as you possibly want to, but I like to do it in one because I feel like it's just easier, and I kind of I've done this Santa a couple of times, so I've gotten the like idea of what exactly I need to do and how much product I do or don't need. So I can usually tell in a way that I can usually tell before I would need to like file the acrylic off. Like usually I can set the bead down on the nail, look at it, and if I'm like, that's too big, I can just swipe it away before it really starts to adhere to anything. See, as you can see right there, I did need to add a little bit more, but I also didn't like that bead, I don't think. So it was too dry. So I just swiped it off like that. That's all you need to do. Not hard. 3D art, to me, I think that's probably one of the things that I need the most work on, probably. I mean, I think everybody can always work on every aspect of nails, and we can always improve, which is the great thing about nails. But I do think that maybe 3D art is probably my weakest point. I don't do a lot of it. It's not like I specialize in it. Specifically, I'm really bad at 3D flowers. But this Santa he kind of made me a little bit more confident in my 3D abilities. And I think I'm better at 3D for like people. I'm better at doing like objects and like people and not flowers. I am getting better at flowers, so I'm trying, trust me. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to do some details to his face while that red hat sets. So the reason you wouldn't want to do this right when you lay down his face initially is because it's all just going to blend together. It's just going to melt together and it's not going to look good. So you want to wait till the face is like set a little bit or most of the way. So I'm adding one little bead in the middle, and then I'm going to add two slightly bigger beads right on either side of that small bead, because that small bead is going to be his nose. And then the two bigger beads on either side are going to be his cheeks. And the wonderful thing about this is that if you get the right size that you want for the nose or for the cheeks right off the bat, then it'll just kind of melt into, like, it'll self-level into a really nice circle, and you won't really have to play with it that much. So that's kind of my secret here for 3D and for creating the circles, is that if you get a good enough bead and you have enough liquid in it, it may look dry when you pick it up initially, but then once you lay it down, it's going to self-level into a really nice circle. So as you can see, that's kind of what's happening here. And you can always play with it a little bit to flatten it out like I do here. And then if you realize that maybe it doesn't match the other one, then you can add a little bit more to make it more of a dome, which is what I did. Like, I don't like the cheeks to be super flat because I don't think that's really realistic. So this is probably the most realistic design I've ever done. And you just want to make sure that they're even to the nose so that, like, they're even distance, I guess. I'm like watching it. It's almost like I'm like holding my breath watching this because I hold my breath when I do this. I have not done this on another person yet, other than my practice hand and myself. But I do have a feeling that a lot of people are going to end up wanting it this year. So I am very excited about that because I do like doing this little Santa guy. I think he's really cute, and I think that he I don't know, I just think that he looks really good. So as you can see, I just added a little bit more, and like I took away what I really didn't need to make that dome a little bit higher. So there, he's got a little nose and some cheeks, but it was a little too high, so I just wanted to take that away. And like I said, I did put acetone in my monomer. I did not dump like a bunch of it. I just put a couple little drops because that'll help it set faster. So if you ever are having a problem with you think the monomer is not setting fast enough, maybe try to put a little bit of acetone in it. It'll set a little faster. Or if it's too runny, sometimes you can try that. But usually if it's too runny, then maybe you aren't working with it correctly. Okay, so now we're getting into the white. So I'm going to do his beard now. And this is the Young Nails XXX white. You want a pretty stark bright white with this. I mean, I've done it with like a milkier white and it just doesn't have the same effect. And I feel like it yellows faster too, which I don't like. I also don't top coat my 3D art, so I don't know if you really want this guy to have some longevity and you want the colors to stay how they are, I would maybe recommend putting a matte top coat on it. Some people like their 3D art shiny, and like that's fine, but I don't because I think it takes away the realistic look. So maybe I usually just leave my 3D art how it is. But maybe if you put a matte top coat on this or something, it would do a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to try it. I feel like top coats sometimes can fill in ridges though, like the ones that I'm about to put in the beard. Like I'm kind of pressing my brush into the beard because I want to create texture. I want to create texture that makes it actually look like a beard. So I make it look like hair. Now I'm adding his sideburns. And I'm going to leave these kind of imperfect. You know, I'm not going to make them super duper like straight, flat out. If it's kind of lumpy, that's how hair is, you know, under a cap. Like if you had a lot of hair kind of tufting out it's like a tuft of hair. I don't know if that's how I think of it. So you don't want it to look, if it looks too smooth, it's going to take away the effect. So you kind of want it to look imperfect. And the same kind of goes with the beard. Like I probably could have done a little bit less of a perfect shape for the beard, which is nice. So you could have gone in with a couple of different, you know, beads, and you could have, kind of like I'm going to do for the cap, but here, as you can see, it didn't work super well this time because the product had kind of set up a little bit. But I'm trying to put those, you know, lines of texture into the beard, and I feel like if you put a top coat on it, then you would kind of like lose that texture, and that's not what I want to do. So I'm just kind of messing around with this, and this is in real time, I might add. I did not speed this up, so it really took me 20 some minutes to do this one little Santa, and that's why if you would do this in the salon, you would charge for it, because it does take you extra time. However, he's really cute, and I like him a lot. He's fun to have on your nails. And it's really not that hard. The first time I did it, I was successful, and usually with 3D art, that's not what happens with me. So now I'm doing his mustache, and I put a little bead like right under his nose, and then I just kind of stretch it out, and I make it come to kind of like a point because I, you know, want it to look like a mustache. I'm just making sure it doesn't like run onto the cheek or anything. So I'm just making sure that it's nice and even, and then I'll probably add a couple little like pinpoint kind of things and poke it a little bit to, again, create some of that texture. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side. This one's a little easier if you do have too much product to like fix, I guess. Like it's easier because you can just kind of stretch it out to the side and take it off if you need to. But you really want to make sure that there's some sort of definition in the middle, like a little triangle to kind of show like this is a mustache. And you want to make sure that you have you want to make sure it's even on both sides, so it's stretching out to the same place on both sides. And you also want to make sure that there is a slight little wall like on the mustache so that it looks like it's separate from the beard. That's probably the biggest place, like I said, and I've talked about this, how you want to kind of have definition to it. Unless with, like, the cheeks and the nose. I think those are maybe the only things that you don't want to have any kind of definition with. Like, you want it to sink into the acrylic a little bit, but you don't really want that for, like, the mustache because you want it to be evident. You don't want it to, as I say, melt into the acrylic because, like I said, then it's going to take away the texture. So I think that's probably the biggest mistake you can make with 3D art is making it too wet and it kind of becomes like one muddied mess. So if you just take a lot of liquid out of your brush, you can get really tiny beads and it won't be a problem. And you can always dry it out on your towel, like if you have a paper towel beside you. So now I'm going in with that concealer pink one more time, and I'm going to make his mouth and his lips. So I'm just doing this in that kind of little triangle that I made with the mustache right under his nose. And I'm making sure I don't get any on the mustache. And then I'm going to press in the middle of it once it cures up a little so that it looks like his lips are slightly parted. And then I'm still going to make sure that none of it has like gone onto the mustache. And I will add a little bit of detail as well onto his mouth and his eyes. So I'll add some detail later, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Alright, and now I'm done with the concealer pink. You don't need that anymore. And the next thing I'm going to do is probably the trim on his hat. So I do this in a couple of different ways. Alright, so I'm doing like the little ball first. This one's kind of easy, I guess. You can pretty much just set it, forget it, and leave it. But I do want it to have a little bit of texture. I don't want it to be just a perfect ball. So I'm going to let it kind of polymerize for a little bit. And for his hat, I don't tend to like to do it in one long strip. I personally like to do it in like a bunch of little balls, which is how I was trying to explain that you could do the beard to make it look like a lot more textured. So I'm just kind of making those balls imperfect, and I'm just kind of poking at it so it has like rougher edges, I guess. And you know, I'm just poking at it. It's super cute. Love it. I love Christmas. I don't know if this is evident yet, but I love Christmas. I'm sorry. I do have, I have a lot of respect for people who, obviously don't celebrate Christmas. And I'm sorry if none of you celebrate Christmas. And I do want to be respectful to all, cultures and celebrations. So if you do have an idea of like nails that maybe you want like me to try to do Hanukkah nails or something of a celebration that you do celebrate, then please let me know in the comments. Like, I would love to do some research on it and create a nail for that. Like that, I just think that that's super interesting, and I love hearing about what other cultures and other religions and other people around the world celebrate, because that's really fun. And even other places that celebrate Christmas. Like, I remember when I was in French class in like 9th grade, we had a French Christmas party, and the story of Santa Claus or Père Noël in French is not the same as as it is in the US, as most French stories are. Most French stories are more realistic and a little darker than American stories. They don't always have a happy ending. But I remember we made, it was like a Christmas log. I want to say like Bouche Noël or something. I don't know. I hope Simply Nailogical doesn't come at me for my French. I've been watching a lot of her videos lately, and I think it's cool that she speaks French. But I remember I made a Christmas log, and it was almost like a pumpkin roll, but like not. It was like chocolate. My great grandma helped me make it. So, and even like we had like a quiche. It was really cool. It was a really neat celebration. We got to, learn about how they celebrate Christmas in France. We also hear about that when we go to Disney around the holidays, because they have like the Festival of the Holidays in Epcot. Anyways, enough of that, Mackenzie. I'm sure that everyone knows that I love Christmas. I do love Christmas. It's just such a cheerful time. Alright, so I'm taking this Young Nail Slick Pour color, which is they're kind of 2-in-1, like colored acrylic and dip. And it's in Pizza Joint. It's a slightly brighter red. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a small bead of it and I am putting it on my towel. And then I'm just taking like a little bit almost of the pigment. Like I'm just kind of tapping it and I'm painting on the pigmentation onto the cheeks. So Santa looks like he has rosy cheeks, like he's been flying around in the sleigh with the reindeer. And I put a little tiny bit on his nose to make it look kind of rosy too. But yes, as I was saying, it seems to be kind of a constant. A lot of people, and I've really been looking forward to Christmas this year, especially just because I think this year has kind of been a mess for everybody, and I need some Christmas cheer. Like, we had decorated our apartment, like, the first week in November. We have all of our stuff up. We've been watching Christmas movies, but there was not a whole lot of them on streaming services yet. Alright, so this is just a brush-on nail glue that I'm going to put over the glitter over his hat because I want the glitter to stay sparkly, so the nail glue will stay kind of shiny and without me having to top coat it. So that's a little nail hack there. And then I'm just going to draw on the detail with that Mission Control Overdrive gel paint, which you do have to cure, so keep that in mind. I'm going to draw like little kind of slants for his eyes to make him look like he's like ho-ho-hoing, or, you know, kind of like he's just closing his eyes and looking happy. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to fill in a little bit of where his mouth is with this gel paint, then I'm going to cure it. But yeah, like I said, we've been watching Christmas movies. If you do celebrate Christmas, tell me down below what your favorite Christmas movie is. I have a lot. My absolute favorite one is probably National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, because that is one that we watch every year at my house. It's like our Christmas tradition, and it's one that we just laugh at every single time. Like, no matter how many times I watch it during the Christmas season, I will laugh at the same parts every single time. I just think it's so funny. My boyfriend loves The Grinch, the one with Jim Carrey. Don't try to tell him the other ones are better, because they're not, according to him. It's not my favorite, but it is funny. We also both really like White Christmas, which is like very different because it's older, but I highly recommend, if you have not seen White Christmas, to go watch it, or any of these Christmas movies that I am now mentioning. I also really like Elf. Alan hates it with a passion. I like the Santa Claus, the first one specifically with Tim Allen. I think that one's a cool one too. And another one that's super underrated that I really like is called Christmas with the Cranks, also with Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis. It's so funny. So there's my Christmas movie rant. I know a lot of people like the Hallmark movies. My grandmother loves watching the Hallmark movies. So let me know what your favorite Christmas movie is below. I'm curious to know. So here's my little Santa. He's so cute. I love him. I love doing the little Santa nails. I think he's so cute. Like I said, if you wanted him to be completely matte or top coated, you could do that, but I think it takes away a lot of the texture. So I hope you guys are having a very nice and safe holiday season. Let me know any other kind of Christmas nails or holiday nails that you might want me to try to make. I hope that you enjoyed this, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can see more of my Christmas videos. Alright, see you guys next time. Bye!